right. Reading notebooks today, we're going to talk about point of view. Ooh, so on your next blank page in your reading notebook, across the top, I would write point of view. We're going to take some notes on what that is. What do you already know about point of view? I'm sure you've heard these words before. Maya, what do you know? Okay, there are 3 different types. Now, you watched a video or a Ed Puzzle not long ago on this, but I know you've also talked about this in 4th grade, probably maybe even touched on it in 3rd.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are 3 different point of views. Our focus is going to be on 2 of them. We're going to talk about the other one. What else, John? Do you know?
Point of view is like the person who's telling the story.
Right, it is. It's the person who's telling the story, right? It's whose viewpoint we're getting it from. So think about how a story might change from person to person. Okay, that's something we're going to come back to. But let's first look at the point of view definition. So here it is. The point of view is the voice behind the story. Who is telling the story? So I would write this down here. I wouldn't necessarily write all of this down. Okay, but I would definitely put in my notebook that point of view is the voice behind the story, and it's who is telling the story.
Just put like POV.
And that's up to you, as long as you're going to remember what it stands for. Okay. So, the voice behind the story, who's telling us the story? When looking for point of view, you must figure that out, right? Why does it make a difference on who's telling the story? Nick?
So we know who it is and like we know who they are.
Okay. It helps sometimes understand a story when you know the relationship between the person telling the story and the story, right? What else? How else does it help if we know who the story is being told by? What are your thoughts, Sean?
I was gonna say it might help us understand the story better.
Sure. It could definitely help us understand the story better, okay? Knowing who's telling the story. We're using inferences to figure out the character's point of view. What's an inference? It's a word we've talked a lot about. Juliana?
It's a guess based on what you know.
Yeah, kind of a guess or an answer, right? An answer based on what you've read, what you know. Okay, you're kind of coming to a new conclusion. Now remember that depending on the point of view, the story may change. We just talked a little bit about that, right? So if I tell a story, it might look different from how you tell a story, right? Okay. So writing down again, point of view is the voice behind the story, who's telling the story. Right? What is point of view?
I didn't write that down because I was.
Well, we'll have to worry about those later, okay? Notebook open. You'll have to get caught up here in a little bit. What is it, Nick?
The voice behind the story.
Yep, and who's telling the story? Here it is again, Wyatt. Write it down.
Okay.
Okay, the point of view is the voice behind the story and who's telling the story, and I can't wait long. Okay, we'll have to deal with paper or pencil shavings later. Okay? A few seconds here, get caught up, and then I'm going to go to the next slide. Is it not working?
No, I just forgot to turn it so it's dead.
But is it charging back there?
Yeah.
All right, let's think about the 3 Little Pigs story. So the original story is told by the 3 Little Pigs, right? The original. The true story of the 3 Little Pigs.
That actually happened?
So we have this one told from the pig's point of view. This one's told from the wolf's point of view. You may or may not be familiar with the 2 sides of the story, but that's okay.
I think I am.
Okay? Imagine, though, without me going any further, how these 2 stories are going to be different. How are they going to be different? Riker?
Because the pigs are running away from the wolf, so the pigs are probably going to be
Exactly. They're going to be way more dramatic, right? They're scared. They think this wolf is after them, right? Okay. How is that going to be different from a wolf's point of view, Maya?
The wolf is gonna express why he's doing it.
Okay. We're going to get a totally different perspective, right? Why he's doing what he's doing. They're just scared, right? Okay. They don't know why he's doing what he's doing. Okay. They're showing you the fear here where he might be showing something a little different. Okay, Nick?
Because in the wolf's point of view, the only time I've ever heard the wolf's point of view was in one ad, and it said the wolf was sick.
Okay.
No, that was in
We're not going to debate that right now. Let's keep going. Here they call the wolf the big bad wolf, right? In his story, the wolf was nice and all he wanted to do was buy some sugar. Okay? So the wolf huffed and puffed and he blew the pig's houses down. So here they're portraying him, right, as this awful big bad wolf, right? Kind of coming in and taking over. Over here he sneezed and knocked down the houses by mistake. Why would he knock down the house? Why would that be a mistake if you sneeze? Think about those houses, Sean.
One, they were built out of straw and sticks except for the one house, and
Right.
You can't control the sneeze.
Right, you can't help that, right? If you sneeze, sometimes it just comes on, and sticks and straw, we know, probably not the best choices. Okay, let's see what else. So here in their story, he really wanted just to eat those pigs, right? Over here, he only ate the pigs because it would have been wasteful not to. So he's like, oh, why not, right? I'm here, might as well. Here, that was all they could think about, right? Not that he may have wanted something else, just that he wanted to eat them. Riker?
My actual original story is the wolf was sick and he was trying to get sugar.
There's probably lots of stories out there, but we're looking at this one, right?
That's one.
All right, let's talk about some of those different point of views. I think Maya mentioned there were 3. This is our first one. So we have first person point of view, which is probably the easiest to pick out. Okay, in your notebook, write down first person. How you set this up if you want to draw boxes around it, because we're going to define it and you're going to get examples for all of them. Okay? So first person means the character is telling the story, right? The character in the story is telling it. So you hear a lot of what kind of pronouns? I, me, my, we, us. Okay, because the character would be constantly referring to themselves in that story. Right? Here's an example. Yesterday I took to the market. As I turned the key and pulled out of my driveway, I couldn't help but notice the dog in my yard. So a lot of I's. I'm telling the story about what's happening. So here it highlighted them. Okay, so you're going to want to write first person, this definition, and the key pronouns. Okay, those are going to be the helpful things here. Okay, I'll give you a second to write that down.
Won't we have to figure out who the person is?
Well, it may not always give you a name, though. You would just say what point of view. So if you read this story, you would say, oh, that's first person point of view. It's using a lot of I's, me's, and my's. Right now. Why don't have to mess with that later? Okay, I need your writing. First person, and then keywords and the definition. Okay, a few more seconds. I see if I'm still writing. Write this down? First person? Okay.
Do we write the example too?
You wouldn't have to write the whole example. I would make sure I have this written down though. Okay? Those key ideas, or those key words in the definition. Okay? Those keywords are what's going to help you find or figure out the point of view. Okay? Okay, so that one's probably, generally that's the easiest one for us to figure out. Okay, so pronouns signal first person. What pronouns signal that the story might be first person? Nick?
Like, I, me, we, or mine.
Yep, so here they go. I, me, we, my, us was another one I had mentioned. Okay. Second person point of view. This is one that we don't generally, as far as what we're going to be doing, we don't see this one a lot. Okay. This might be something where you're explaining how to do something. So second person is used to address the reader. Okay, so if I'm reading the story, it's talking to me. It's telling me what to do. Okay? It's like someone is talking to you or telling you what to do. So your keywords are going to be you, yours, and your. Okay, so take a minute, write that down, and then we'll look at this example. Yep. Second person, used to address the reader, and then you're going to want to write the keywords down.
Wait, is this another one? Because in the video that we watched from there, you can see like if you want to read about.
They mentioned this one briefly in that video that you watched. This is the one that we won't necessarily do a whole bunch with. Okay, it's not a very commonly used point of view.
But I thought we were gonna do third person.
So over here in the example, it says, before you go to school, make sure to walk your dog and brush your teeth. Don't forget your book bag or to lock the door behind you. So these are very much commands, right? They're telling somebody what to do. Okay, so second person. A lot of the information that we're going to read, the text that we're going to read, generally won't be in second person. Okay? So think back to some of the stories that we've read. Okay, most of them were either first person. A lot of them are going to be third person. So we'll focus more on first and third person as we go through these point of view lessons. But it's handy to know, handy to keep in mind. So here we have signaling, the pronouns that signal second person, you, yours, and your. Now, stories are going to have you, your, and yours in them, but does that mean once I see a you, it's second person?
No.
No, you really have to read and think about the story. Okay? You might be in a quote. Okay? A character might be saying, you're going to go here. But that doesn't make the story second person. Okay? And we'll talk more about that again as we go through. Here's that third person we were talking about. Okay? And third person gets broken down into two different kinds of third person. But to start with, third person itself is a narrator outside the story. Think back to first person. How are first person and third person different so far? John?
First person is the person that actually witnessed it.
Right.
Third person is a person who's like reading about it or finding it out.
Yeah, they're kind of observing. Your third person narrator is the observer. They're watching the story unfold. Okay? Or your first person is actually part of the story. So think back to primary and secondary resources, right, for social studies. Okay, primary, the person is there. Okay, they would be a first person narrator. Or here, somebody who's looking and observing what's happening, they're going to be giving you it from third person point of view. Okay, so somebody telling the story, and then you have your keywords, he, she, they. Okay, and the author's going to use the characters' names. Here's right where we're going to know the name, right? Okay, we're first person, we may not. But in third person, more than likely you will. Take a minute, write that down. Third person, narrator outside of the story, your key pronouns, and make sure you write. You may know the character's name. Okay, write those down. We'll keep going here. Mm-hmm.
I didn't write down everything for first person, so.
We'll go back. I'll go back to it later when we're done. Okay. and let you get that written down. Okay, just make sure you stay caught up with this stuff, okay? Alright, the example, the moose was getting ready to walk out into the road. He moved his head to the left and turned right. There was not a car in sight. He began to cross the road. Think for a minute, if this was written in first person, how would it change? Josh?
The moose would be telling the story?
He would be. Would we even know it was a moose? No, because it would be using I, me, and my, right?
Yeah.
Now, we may not even know it was a moose unless there were pictures, because a person could be doing this, right? Okay? So think that's how things are going to change, okay? If it was first person, we wouldn't even know specifically maybe who or what it was. We're here in third person, we definitely know it's a moose because the author says the moose. Then we use all of these pronouns, okay? So if I hit my button, it's going to show you all these pronouns that tell us it's third person, okay? Riker, question?
And if it was in first person, it would have said I was getting ready to.
Exactly. Would have said I. As I mentioned, third person has two different points of view that it can be from. So here, limited. What does the word limited mean? Let's talk about that word first. Riker?
And it means like unlimited means like infinite.
Okay.
Limited means it could be like stopped or like a number. The limit is 10.
However
so
many.
You can only go up to 10.
Good. So unlimited means however many, right? Where limited means you can only have so many. Okay, so limited for us in third person is going to mean one. Okay, here the narrator is still outside of the story. Okay, we have the same key words, but the narrator is only telling us what one character is doing or feeling. Okay, so underneath your third person, write limited. And you might just want to add this. If it's limited, it's one character. Okay, the narrator tells us what one character thinks or feels. Because this is the same, right? You see it over here. That's all the same. So underneath third person, write limited. The narrator knows what one character thinks. Okay, we don't get a whole bunch of information. So in our story about the moose, that was limited, right? We were just knowing what the moose was doing. Okay, take a minute, write that down. And then we'll talk about this other crazy word over there. You can write it down now if you want to. I'm waiting.
The
Omniscient. Yep.
Will we write omniscient down?
We're going to talk about it.
Is that a point of view?
It is a point of view. So limited is your point of view from one character. Omniscient is the narrator outside of the story, but this narrator can tell us lots of information. Okay, they can tell us what many characters are feeling or thinking. Okay, so think about a mystery novel. Usually it's going to be third person. Okay, and more than likely it might be many characters' feelings and ideas. Then we have to take all those feelings and thoughts and figure out what's happening in a mystery novel. Okay, because that would be different if we were just getting one person's point of view in a mystery novel. Probably a little bit harder to figure out what's happening, right? So here, omniscient is many characters and how they feel. Limited is one. Okay, how am I going to know which one it is? How am I going to know if it's limited or omniscient? Because here, my keyword pronouns are the same. What are some other things that might help us figure out the difference in the story? John?
If it's limited, it's
Right, and they might go between names, right? We might get lots of names, okay, and what they're saying, lots of different pronouns in this one, okay? And they might even use the words like this person thinks, right? And then they might give you another person and what they think and feel. So you have to really think about who the information is coming from, how many different characters they're talking about. Where here, it is only going to be one, okay? And that person is going to be maybe giving you information just on what they see on other characters. Riker?
Are we writing the omniscient and the definition down?
Just this. You just want to put this down underneath third person because there's still third person, but limited is the narrator knows one character's feelings. Omniscient, the narrator knows many characters and their feelings
Okay.
because this information's the same. Okay? All right. Questions so far? We got through first, second, third person, limited and omniscient. We're going to practice some here. Okay, we kind of talked about that already. So, let's practice. Here we go. What's my point of view? So use your notes. Down here, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but it says first person, third person limited, and third person omniscient. Let me fix my video here so our friends watching can see. There we go. It says, I'm getting ready to go to the store, but I forgot my keys in the house. Now I have to go back in and get them. I do that all the time. Might have one of those remote start cars where you gotta hit the button, and if you don't have your key, it beeps at you.
Yeah.
Every time. I go back in the house and get the key. The cold breeze is sending a chill up my spine. Maybe I will grab a coat while I'm inside. Ooh, which one is it? It's one of those ones we said generally we can pick these out. Hands are up. Tell me, everybody. First person. See how it kind of made it go away? First person. Good. Let's try another one. Here's your clue words. I, me, my, I'm. Okay, we don't get a name of any kind. Okay, just a lot of pronouns. When would we, in a first person writing, get somebody's name? It's possible. When, Nick?
Like if, say, I'm the narrator and I'm talking about, like, I'm saying that, like, someone did something else.
Then we might get another character's name, but when would you know this narrator? So if this was me telling this story, think about, so if I go back in to grab a coat, here I'm coming, I might say I'm going into the house and my husband is there and he says, he wouldn't call me Mrs. Long, obviously. He would say, Angela, what did you do? Forget your coat? And your keys again? So another character might give you my name, right?
Yeah.
Okay, in quotes or something like that. And I might give you other characters' names too. So we could, Riker mentioned getting names, right? We could get a name here still. Maybe not always, but sometimes. All right. Did we not do that one? We didn't, did we? We did that one. Here we go. Next one. You're going to the dentist today. Ooh, I hate the dentist. You have to have your mouth checked for cavities. Don't be scared. The doctor will take good care of you.
Oh, I love
What's this one? What's that one, Brendan? Yeah, that's second person because it's telling you what you're going to do, right? It's probably mom, dad, grandma, aunt, somebody's telling you, guess what? You're going to the dentist. And you're like, oh. Okay. Here's our key, our highlighted pronouns. Okay. Here we go. There are a lot of reasons I don't like to sleep in the same room as Fudge. Ooh, that might sound like a familiar story.
Yep.
I found that out 2 months ago when my bedroom was painted. I had to sleep in Fudge's room for 3 nights because the paint smell made me cough. Ooh, what's that one?
Really?
Wyatt? Did you say first? Yeah, first, right? We're getting a name, but it's not the person telling us, right? We're seeing all of these eyes
His name is Fudge.
in there still. The brother's name is Fudge, right? There's 2. There's another, because this is probably one of the Fudge stories.
It's kind of like more
I don't know which one, but we still have all of these pronouns in there. Yes, we have a name, but they're talking about somebody else, okay? For one thing, ready? For one thing, he talks in his sleep. He must be scared of something. He screamed, saying that a monster was after him, and then woke up to run to the bathroom. Adam? That's third person. Is it limited or is it omniscient? Limited, right? We're only getting one person's point of view here. So this would be third person omniscient, and if I hit the button, it'll show you those highlighted pronouns to help us. Okay. Oh, more Fudge. Fudge ate the flowers. He had to be feeling sick. Mom was nervous as she dialed the doctor's number. The doctor listened carefully and finally laughed. He must have been relieved to find that Fudge had only eaten flowers. Mom hung up the phone, gave Fudge some medicine, and took a deep sigh. She must have had enough excitement for one day. Ooh, what's that one? Ava? Third person limited or omniscient? Because we're getting Fudge's information and we're getting information about Mom, right? So let's see here. Here it is. So Fudge ate the flowers, right? Here we're seeing what Fudge is doing. Here we're seeing Mom is feeling nervous, right? Okay, so that would be omniscient. We're getting two characters there instead of just the one. Well, let's see how many we have here. Oh, we've only got a couple more. He was happy to be going to Grandma's house. He had not seen her in over a year, and there was nothing like Grandma's love. He sat quietly in the back of his parents' car, looking out of the window, wondering if Grandma would be happy to see him. Those pronouns. Read it again if you have to. Juliana? Third person. Limited or omniscient? Are we getting one person's point of view or more than one?
Third person limited.
Yeah, limited. Here it does say Grandma, but are we learning about what Grandma's thinking or feeling? No, we just know he's going to Grandma's house, so it would definitely be third person limited. Good job. Okay? Yes, Riker?
Wouldn't third person, omniscient or whatever it is, wouldn't it be more than two people, or couldn't it be two?
It would be two or more. So we would get feelings and thoughts from two or more characters. Limited is one. Okay, any more than one would be omniscient.
So it could be Fudge ate the flowers and Grandma feels like angry.
Yeah.
Would that be omniscient?
That would be omniscient because you're getting Fudge and Grandma. Okay. All right. She went down to the attic afraid because there was a huge storm brewing outside. Grandma was on her way down, but she moved slowly because she was afraid she might fall. The two of them huddled together in a corner and held on for comfort. For the first time since hearing about the storm, they both felt ready to face it. What do you think? I'm going to go with, I don't think this one's right. Nick?
Third person omniscient.
That's what I would say. Watch what happens when I hit this button. It's covering limited. But here I feel the two of them huddled together in a corner, held on for comfort. And even this one says they both felt ready to face it, right? So I would agree that this is probably more third person omniscient. Okay?
Then it could be both.
Then it would be limited. So how can we think about what we've talked about as far as evidence, right? How would we prove this was maybe limited? Here's the highlighted pronouns. See how it's even highlighting the two of them, they. Okay, it's definitely third person. Riker, how can we prove that maybe it is just limited?
Because it says, she went down to the attic afraid because there was a huge storm.
I agree. We see a lot more about just Grandma, don't we? Or we don't even know who this other person is.
Yeah.
Okay? So I agree. We would definitely see we've got Grandma, okay? We've got a lot more about Grandma than we do whoever this other person is. We don't even know who they are. So that could be your proof that this is limited. Okay, if you're going Nick's route, you could say here, like we did, right? They both felt, the two of them. Those might lead you more towards the omniscient part of third person. Sean?
Either attic should be basement or both the down should be up. I know. I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
She went down to the attic unless they were on a roof.
I mean, unless there
Oh.
was a hurricane, you would go up to the attic.
Oh, here, like this should be basement. Well, because don't they say basement somewhere else too, though?
No.
No, they just say the attic. Okay, interesting.
Then maybe it should be up.
Maybe their house was upside down.
Maybe their house was upside down. I don't know about that.
Or maybe she has like this long.
Yeah.
Or maybe she has like a compartment that you go down and then you go up to the attic.
Well, if it was a storm, you wouldn't go up into the attic. You would definitely go down into the basement. All right, 3, 2. Today's assignment is going to be more practicing. So you have, I added a new folder down here, point of view. In that point of view folder in Schoology, this is the only one you have open. Point of view worksheet 1. Okay, let me zoom in here. So you're going to open this. I think there are 3 stories. You want to send this to Notability, okay? And then you're going to submit it when it's done. So here you're going to read the 3 stories, okay? I need clues, and I need to know what the point of view is, okay? So you have 3 stories you're going to read through, A, story B, and story C, all right? And decide what is the point of view and what clues help you know it's that point of view, okay? That's your reading assignment for today.